All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're stepping onto the factory floor of a truly traditional industry. We're talking garment manufacturing, to see how some seriously high-tech data science is trying to predict its future, literally one stitch at a time.
To really get why this is so important, you just need to remember one number: 40%. Get this, that is the slice of Sri Lanka's entire export economy that comes from making clothes. So the stakes for getting this right, they're not just high, they're at a national level.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the big picture, the global competition. Then, we'll zoom right in on the tech itself. We'll see what the data is telling us, uncover a really critical, kind of hidden problem, and then wrap up by looking at how to build a much smarter future.
Okay, first up, the global garment race. This is all about setting the scene, understanding just how intense this market is, where every single little bit of efficiency really counts.
Now, here's what's so fascinating. You've got competitors like Bangladesh and Vietnam who often win on lower labor costs, right? But Sri Lanka has carved out a totally different space for itself. They compete on quality, on ethical production. They become known as pioneers in sustainable, high-end manufacturing. It's like a classic quality versus quantity battle playing out on a global stage.
And you know, this goes way beyond corporate profits. The garment industry is a genuine pillar of Sri Lanka's economy. We're talking about jobs for over 300,000 people, and the majority of that workforce is women from rural areas. So when you improve efficiency here, you're not just helping a factory, you're creating a ripple effect that lifts up the whole society.
So, with stakes that high, how do you get an edge? Well, that brings us to Section 2. Let's look at how they're trying to forecast what happens on the factory floor using the power of predictive analytics.
Predictive analytics. I know, it sounds super technical, right? But the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Just think of it like a weather forecast. But instead of predicting rain or sun, it's predicting production jams or efficiency scores. It's about seeing what's coming before it happens.
Now, to figure out the best way to build these forecasts, researchers got really serious. They didn't just grab a few papers. They started with almost 600 studies, then, step by step, they filtered them down, got rid of duplicates, screened them for relevance, until they were left with just this core group of 30 really solid studies. This whole process just makes sure that whatever they find is built on a rock-solid foundation.
So, after all that hard work, what did the data actually show them? Let's dive into Section 3 and look at the key ingredients you need to predict an efficient factory.
When you dig in, you see a really clear pattern. The prediction models kept coming back to 5 key things. 3 of them are pretty obvious: the number of workers you have, how much overtime they're doing, and any bonuses or incentives you offer. But the other 2 are more industry-specific. SMV, which is the standard minute value, basically the target time to make one item, and WIP, or work in progress, which is just how many things are on the line at any given moment. These are the real dials that a manager can turn.
And what tools are they using for this crystal ball? Well, the most popular, by a pretty wide margin, are something called ensemble models. And the reason they're so popular is pretty cool. They don't just rely on one single algorithm. Instead, they combine the predictions from lots of different models to create one much more accurate forecast. It's basically like getting a second, third, and fourth opinion all at the same time.
But here's the thing, it's not all just about cold, hard data. The research also highlighted this huge human element. Whenever a factory starts making a totally new style of clothing, efficiency tanks at first. But then, as the workers get used to it, as they get the feel for the new fabric and the new patterns, they get faster. There's this learning curve, and any good model has got to take that into account. Okay, so up to this point, everything sounds great, right? Technology is swooping in to solve the problem. Well, not so fast. Here comes the twist. Welcome to Section 4, the missing seasons problem. There is a huge fundamental flaw hiding in plain sight.
Take a good look at this chart. This right here is the smoking gun. It shows us how much data, the time span these studies were actually using. And that huge bar on the left, that's the overwhelming majority. They're building these complex prediction models on less than one single year of data.
So what? A bunch of short-term data. You might be thinking, why is that such a big deal? What's the problem? Well, the researchers themselves put it perfectly. The fashion industry, the garment industry, it runs on seasons. I mean, think about it, right? Winter coats versus summer dresses, the back-to-school rush, the holiday shopping frenzy. If your predictive model has never even seen a full 12 months, it has no clue that these huge seasonal shifts are even a thing. It's like trying to predict a blizzard when your data only covers the month of July. You're completely blind.
So if the data itself has this massive blind spot, how on earth do you fix the forecast? This brings us to our final section, building a smarter future. It's all about making that leap from just collecting raw data to generating real, trustworthy insights.
The research actually points to a pretty clear path forward. First, build more sophisticated models that can combine different techniques. But more importantly, you have to attack the root of the problem. That means using things like time series analysis, which is a tool designed specifically to find patterns over time, like seasons. And of course, the biggest fix is the simplest one. Factories have to start collecting data for longer periods, years, not months.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here, not just for this industry, but for anyone using this kind of tech. Creating effective AI isn't just a race to build a smarter algorithm. The real foundation, the thing that makes it all work or fall apart, is having a smarter data strategy.
And that leaves us with one final big question. As every industry out there is racing to adopt AI, are we maybe a little too focused on the fancy algorithms? Or could it be that better, cleaner, more thoughtful data is the real thread that's going to weave the future of all industry?